branding and context of being an artist means. So it says no matter in what genre you are active, or even if you can be an artist or a writer or a studio manager or a manager as well, you think about branding. So you should look at yourself, who you are, and that, of course, the definition of yourself is a very personal thing to do, because when you think of what Christine said yesterday, what is important when you present yourself, it's originality. And so define yourself, try to carve out what is original in your art, where you're coming from, and the way you express yourself. To do that, you can ask yourself some questions. So these questions could start with these, like, what are your values? What do you really care about in your heart? Because that's what you really care about, that's what will drive you and what will make you work good and be good as an artist. So also what's important to you aside from your art. So that could be other creative qualities. It could be your ethical or political visions or anything else that makes out your personality. Also something, of course, when thinking about branding is more the visual part of it. What is your look? What is your style? Do you go with a certain group of where you say, yeah, I can identify myself with? But on the other side, because when we talk about branding, it has to be something that goes down to the point. Don't get too existential about it, but it'll take some time, depending on what stage of your career you are and what stage of your personality and your life you are, of course. It will take some time. So that's something where you think of yourself, defining yourself, and you may write down your thoughts, sleep over them, think them over, and could be part of the process. When branding, again, things like be yourself, and why it is important. If you want to present yourself and say what are you, where you're coming from, it will be more easier if it's something actually you and not a dream or another personality which you're not is impersonated on yourself. One process to train there is called the elevator pitch. It's when you're an artist, you will often, we talked about yesterday, the importance of networking. You will often come into situations where you have a short glance of time to interact with a person and communicate. And so naturally you want to make good use of that limited time. So that's why there comes up this elevator pitch. Does somebody of you have trained or heard maybe about an elevator pitch who you could explain? The lady maybe could. Exactly. Yeah. So that if you're on an elevator with someone. Exactly. Yeah. That's because when I first heard the wording, I had never heard about it. So I thought, what's happening in the elevator? But then I understood, because you just have that 30 seconds, and you stand up, and it can be a bit awkward. But sometimes it's just the fitting right atmosphere, and there is that agent, and you say, hey, how are you doing? What's up? How are you looking like? And then you go and you say, oh, I'm just going to have a big celebration for my father's legacy or something there, and I'll be playing. You want to come by? I'm I'm a talented artist, I don't know, something like that. You can do better than me, because that's exactly what we will train. But you understand. So this is about what trying to get a good understanding of what is an elevator pitch by keeping it simple, but still effective. So one thing is, if I would have a studio, so I think about, we have a beach studio that puts the waves into your sound. It's like, it was raining this morning, but I was thinking of waves. The sound. So, or that's something, we put old truths into the sound of new dancehall. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just trying to make the picture, yeah? To have something simple, but that stands out in some way. And this is something, actually, I copied a bit. I'm a singer-songwriter from the rural Jamaican with art and music from my father's legacy in my DNA, and that's OMI, I got it in his promo text. Sort of. Then, when you brand yourself, of course, you have to keep in mind who you will be addressing to. Because the target group, of course, will make a difference in terms of the style and the way and language and approach you're taking to communicate. So who's going to respond more enthusiastically to your work? This is especially important, the strong communication in terms of artist and fans relations. That's also when we address the new trends, is that in contrast to earlier, when you build up slowly a fan base and you needed a big company and promotion agency to reach out to your fans and everything, that's something you, in theory, you can do yourself today. Because you can reach out directly to your fans, and they can reach out to you, which is what they love. So for succeeding in this, is theory says, well, the better you brand yourself, or organically, of course, but good, well branding, the faster you will build up like a critical quantity of so-called superfans. Sorry? Okay, yes, I can talk louder. Sorry. Thank you. In terms of branding and superfans, I think that's very important, because today they say if you achieve to have 1,000 superfans that are ready to buy your new release, it can be also physical product, because that's what superfans will want. They want to have some merchandise, they want to have maybe a written story, they want to have a meet and greet session with you. They have these people that can actually already start to make you a living, a sustainable living as an artist. That's some number that goes around in the media. That's just to tell you. If that's true or not, that depends where you are, right? But this is the connection. If you get the superfans, that's a first step on economical survival. If you can exploit it in a sustainable way, which means to have a good relation with your fans. So that's why, you should, when brand yourself, try to really address the target groups that you're thinking of. As I say, this will be the people that come to your shows, buy your merch, and recommend to your friends, because on that basis you can even top up your quantity of superfans. Then again, to say, you're talking about organical growth of branding, it's important if you start a branding process that you don't go zigzag. It's like what Christine said with the managers. If you change your manager like every year, or even your distribution companies or your other partners, well, you might have had bad luck, but people will question if it was your bad luck or their luck or whatever. So what I mean is, stay with your brand. So be true. Yeah, try to be true to yourself. But of course, understand that every personality and every artist's life goes under different evolvements, developments, cycles, and that will allow to give a little bit of flexibility to your brand. Because in the end of the day, you have to feel good with it. Because if you feel good, then that's where you're at best. And because it's there's no general rule. It's really a process you have to carve out yourself. And once you created your own strong brand and you feel confident, then actually use it so it can get into effect. Yeah, so that's the little introduction on branding with a limelight on an artist's life, and now we go into aspects of international promotion. And once you have branded yourself, please hold a second. So what is international promotion then of music about? We are looking at a step where you come from a national career or a foundation of some appreciation on your national and domestic market to make a step into the international career. And for this, obviously, you will have to create a demand. And to put it together, creating a demand, it will take passion, energy, time, and money into promotion and marketing to enter foreign markets. Because for the people outside of your domestic market that don't know you yet, for them you're more like a blank piece of paper, so to speak it out bluntly. And this means, before going for international markets, be sure to be export ready, so which means in that regard of artistic development, and also we talk about the logistical challenges and financial funds and capacities that are needed for this. So after you did the preparation and analysis at home, because you need to think of where do you want to invest. You will not be able to go into all international markets at once. That even major companies, or like artists that are signed to major companies, are not going to all markets in one go. When you see, as a matter of fact, that's a number I heard, that 98% of all artists signed to major companies are not actually being kept signed, so they are dropped. So this happens often when they are not able to really cross over into an international perspective of sales. But happily, we are in like the new times where we can take, if you have the determination and the courage and the talent and the resources, to try to do this yourself without the help of a major company. And even majors, of course, they will have to have a big preparation and schedule made as well. So after you prepare yourself with analysis, you will try to identify a team that will invest in your success. We were talking about this yesterday. Team building is extremely important. because you will not be able to do this all by yourself. Like in terms of creating a demand abroad, will need some partners and teams. For instance, example given, a external promotion company in the target territory that you're attacking. So you need to team up there with some professionals that know what they're doing in their respective territory. Then together with your team, you may need to develop and calculate a promotional campaign, then execute it, monitor the campaign, and top it up with further self-marketing. So we go more into details about how to prepare. Having said that, again, it's paramount to build up a strong fan base at home and document it. Right? So you should really keep good reviews. You should keep documentation of well-done concerts, of highlights in your domestic career. These are your assets. You really have to understand this is like money in the bank in your artist assets. So document it or have a team that documents it together with you. It's what they say, actually, like building an international career. It will be necessary that you think maybe in terms of a 50-50 proportion of 50% being an artist and 50% having the resources somehow to do the promotion. So after you have the talent, you're becoming successful, and if you spend all the money you have into that studio recording and all your energy and everything, and then you have it, and it's there, and then you have nothing more, yeah, then you're running out of gas, sort of. So you have that good reviews, you have the concert critics, you reach out, and then you do have to have a good material setup, a setup of promotional materials. Oh, sorry, sir. I can listen to your career. Okay. So we'll look at it. What is a one-sheet bio? You need video clips. You'll have interviews. You might have a web page. And you need to watch out what your online presence looks like. Like still today with the digital promotion, what every distributor needs, or before they even considers you taking up your product, is like a one-sheet bio. So, which means literally like one sheet, and as Christine said, not like 4 or 5 sheets, though that could be given in addition, or it's good to have ready if you have so much to tell, but it's good to, after you did your branding and you have your short story there, to really have the highlights and milestones of your career so far, to have a story that sticks in the mind of a journalist or a music lover or music professional that is interested, because it stands out, and will help the person to know, okay, with this I can actually go to the retailer and I see here's a professional picture. There's dedication in there, they invested some money, that's the signal. There's a concise information, there's the title, the genre, where you're coming from, as I said, the milestones. If it's all there compact and good in one sheet, that's very important to have. Of course, today, video clips are getting then more important. Happily, those you don't need to invest like they used to do, like for TLC, they had a video clip made, I think it was $250,000 each, and they never got any money from because every record sold was eaten up by the incredible expenditure by the major companies. That is something you don't have to do, but what you have to do is to put some creativity in it and laugh. And I saw some good clip from you. So yesterday, so actually you can do that. You can get some talented artists, team up with your friends, with your creative posse, and try to do some good clips, experiment with them. Be ready to get feedback when you show the clips, to take criticism not as hard, but as a constructive way to become even better. And so you can build up your promo package. Then it's good to also train interviews, because you might think when you're going into international markets, you'll be a new face, and they will want to introduce you. Maybe on a radio station, you could have a produced interview there, or pre-produced interview for the social media, because people are curious, they like your sound, they find something new in your branding, so they might get to know you closer. So an interview is a personal way to do that. Then make sure that you have all information like clean and updated, and possibly free of errors on your web page presence. The web page that can serve like a central place, like a headquarter for all your promotional information, from where it spreads out to the social media channels. If you update something on your social media channels, like a tour or an upcoming concert, always make sure that on all your online presence you have the updates, right? So you have a consistent and coherent presentation on the public. So here we have, so you'll have this in an access to the presentation, but this sums up a little bit an optimization model, because the steps which explain like the process of how to go out there, starting with a SWOT, strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats analysis, unique sales points, the branding. So all of this, where you start and go into the different processes to define the marketing objectives after you've selected the market, analyzed your competitors. Oh, that's something I forgot to say, is always look, when you're reaching out for new markets, look out, what are the artists and competitors? I mean, it's not in the meaning of bad, mean competitors, but in like positive role models. Well, look at them, try to see which way did they go, how succeeded them in what markets, and where did they play, what are their partners. You, by analyzing like those examples, you can have a good start, maybe how to start with your work. So, and then when you go into the implementation, which means taking action, creating that EPK with the photos, with the bio, and the videos and everything. And of course, you need to obviously be on track with your resources, so that you have a time schedule and cost schedule. And when then actually, together with your team, you having a rollout, sort of like a real start of a promotion campaign through a social media campaign. It could be also a campaign, a radio promotion campaign in the country. You could say, okay, I want to introduce myself to the reggae market in Germany. Then you might hire a publicist for maybe, let's say, €2,000 for 3 months for a very basic campaign. That could happen. And so they make sure that every reggae fan that in every channels that the reggae fans consume, like radio stations, online radios, websites, even flyers for your promo tour and all of this, that the fans get to know you. Because this is an unstandardized process. It's not like doing something in the factory where you know it happens every day and this is input, this is output, and it's all fine. Because it's not like that, you will need to have an iteration, or how you say, like a process of, again, controlling what was the outcome. That's what we tried to explain yesterday when, it's like going, you prepared for that professional industry event, which you would have done before, of course, because then you will, to build up a team, you might go to an professional industry event. You will need to monitor the output. What is the outcome? How was the resonance? And then you compare it with your expectations, and then you try to tweak your campaign and might say, okay, I should have spent more money on social media, or I should have maybe topped up my story. It was not like maybe edgy enough or so. So that's something that can undergo like a re-evaluation, of course. So one part of the situation analysis in the first part we mentioned is a SWOT analysis. This is actually something that we in our company, where what we are doing, every time we take up on a new artist, we're looking for, on a release basis and for the communication campaign, we say, okay, what are the strengths of the artists, what are the opportunities, what are weaknesses, and what are the threats. This is made on terms of what is the artistic level, how is the orchestration of the music, what are the influences, how is the genre doing, how strong is the branding, and do we really have like a unique sales proposition, which means basically sales arguments. And this helps us that we get like a methodical approach to it, and not depending on our daily mood. We go, we just go for the same campaign as with the other artists because like copy and paste or so. It's just to emphasize it's important to always individually look at your situation there. And something very important is identifying a team that invest and will invest in your success. And this is done like, think first, what do I need as a team? You will, in your domestic market, you might have a team already helping you with your concerts, helping you with the design of flyers, depending on how much you're promoting yourself. Or you might have a manager, which is, of course, an integral part of your team. And then you say, okay, look out, I still believe like in Japan or Germany, you know, are one of the strongest markets for physical project still. And so it might make sense to actually try to find a label that will license you, or even might, that I'll ask you, might buy product from you. Are you producing own product still here in Jamaica? Because, I mean, yeah? And so do you have, what formats do you have? Like CDs? CDs? And you sell at vinyl? Oh, no vinyl. Yeah? How so? when you read about the CDs, okay, yeah. But you could run like little series still. Okay, okay, that's what we do as well sometimes, you know. Like, okay. And how about dub plates? Is dub plates, is that still happening? Yes. Because, yeah. Because, as you know, yeah? The Yeah, I was reading about this, and I know some who have for DJing, and they are paying up to $1,000 for a dub plate. I heard. Is that true? Yeah, that's massive. That's that's really massive. So you see, so there's still some interest in physical stuff, and which is good. For this, so you might consider you need a label or distribution company. So I think that VP Records and Greensleeves, that they are distributed by Groove Attack in Germany. So naturally, that would be an interesting place to ask for. Identify the main players. Yes, Mike. Groove Attack. Yeah, you find them. They're Cologne, which is one of the staples like of reggae hotspots also in Germany. So, because they know, like, for instance, a distribution company in a foreign territory, they know how to do the job to sell records of your art into the shops. So why do they know? Because themselves, they work with teams. When I was an independent music promotion company that I had as a small entity, which I did for 10 years. So what will happen if I had a successful campaign done with an artist, and where I worked with a record distributor, then they would recommend my name to a new client who said, I have this artist. Can you think of a fitting promoter who loves the music, who knows how to communicate it and stuff? So, and that's how you can think in a reverse way. If you contact them and say, look, like, I know you are not a label, but you know labels, and you know teams that can promote my music. If you like the music, please help me finding the right team. Because in the end, it's about the right team that you have. And there's a sort of triangle, or the question between the egg and the hen. A label might say, okay, I like your music, but I'm not a concert promoter. So before I release the music, you need to find a concert promoter. If you're lucky and they are really eager, they might even help you doing this. But this is a situation that might come up. That you need a record label to find a distributor. Because a distributor will usually not work directly with artists. Because they would have too many artists to deal with. It's nothing against artists. It's just they want to have that one label, that they have the setup, they're set up in the way they work, they know the process, there's no time to lose, everything has to go like smoothly. So that's what they do usually. Unless you're like acting as a label because you're like super established artist with a track record and a management company, that they will be just replace the label. Okay, that's a different thing then. But if you're there and you're new in the market, you will have to team up and find that distribution company together with the label, and because you need live action, also the booking agency. And this is why the whole thing we talked about before is so important, that you have your branding ready, that your export ready, and that you have the whole set, the one sheet, the video, the social media stats, and everything is as fitting as possible to ignite that interest, ignite that demand out there. So. Then, if you can, for label and distributor, it's important that you communicate what you are willing to invest. And that is not just money, but is, as yesterday, as Christine also said, it's not just investing money, it's also investing time, dedication, reliability. These are factors where you can make points, sort of, because then they will prefer working with you, maybe with another artist that might be talented as well, but not shows that kind of involvement. Then something I found very important from experience is that when you're having all these resources ready to be invested for a campaign in a foreign market, it's important, as we said before, and because it's a people of face-to-face business, that you actually get all the team together, like in person. It might be more economically coming over yourself, maybe as an artist, and meeting up in Germany or in London or wherever, than inviting 3-4 people to Kingston, unless they are prepared to do so of their own cost. But if you are the person who is investing, it's really important to get them together and to feel and make sure that they give commitment. For this, you have to look them into the eye and be at the same table. And this has to be done in advance, when there's time enough to change something in the campaign or to adapt. Or they might say, okay, this is the market, as your schedule is not working in our market, then you have to discuss it, but you need to have the time for this. This is why a long lead planning is also very, very important for going over to foreign markets. And even if you had a good meeting there and you think, oh, everybody was on the same page, be sure to be on the neck. If it's people you pay, be nice to them, be friendly, be open, but they have to feel your breath in the neck, yeah? Because otherwise people are people, we are human. If I have that client who's in my neck and that other not, it's like, you know, who's gonna get more dedication or time spent? It should be like that, but this is the way it works sometimes. Yeah, so this is just what I said here in writing. You will have the team members will bond and commit to your project, and at any cost try to avoid misunderstandings. So, as I said, the timing is paramount because especially with the physical distribution, which is still depending maybe on more depending on the target group, you might want to go into, and of course, and depending on your branding, you might go into more like printed journalism, different media channels that are not like social media, where you have short lead times working, but print media sometimes has incredibly long lead times, which basically means that journalists need to get the information about the release way ahead, like 2.5, 3 months sometimes. Because they are planning their articles in the magazines. Like Rhythm magazine, but it can also be other, like popular bigger magazines. And for those, the space is like limited. So that's why timing is important. If the promotion campaign, if the promoter for the media campaign delivers the result just on the release day, it's useless. It's way too late. The results of the media campaign have to be ready long ahead, or at least the expected results. Yeah, that's very important. Of course, then when you are having a media campaign and you have touring activity, you want to have the timing right there, because when you're touring, people need to know. Today, there's great opportunities also. You can have direct ticket sales. You can connect digital campaigns also to ticket sales. But especially with the physical release, you need good timing, and of course with the planning of a concert tour as well. Antivirus. So when you're sitting together on your same page, okay, you're calculating a promotional campaign. Here saying a sort of a legal campaign, which means no payola or something, but so like normal campaign. Then a typical rollout or plan of a campaign for a physical and digital release would include the mailing. You would want to talk to your promoter. Who are you mailing and how much are you mailing? And like somebody who just wants to earn money as a promotional booking, a promotional agency that might say, yes, give me 250 records. But you should be more inquisitive then and say, like, who's actually and why are getting there, and are you really expecting results there? Every project has its own character, has its own setup. So I think every campaign should be hand-tailored. So if you're paying a person out there to do some work, ask them to explain why they need any quantity, and what are they expecting. Of course, then you need the concert promotion, the concert dates, and the sales marketing by the distributor. So the distributor, again, can only do the sales marketing if they have the information in advance. I've seen promotional tours which were funded by labels in foreign countries, where we try to get into a new country, and I saw them, exploding. The energy would explode into nothing because they did not communicate to the retailers that the act is actually on tour, that they had a very good review in certain magazines, and these things happen. And then the whole investment might be in vain. So it's that, again,